Welcome to the How to Get Gooder at Kingdom Hearts, the one series on YouTube that will make you better at Kingdom Hearts while entertaining you at the same time, and probably failing at both of them. Let's begin, which to do so we must begin at the beginning, but to do that we must begin before the beginning, and first acquire a copy of Kingdom Hearts, which, lucky for you, unlike your dad, you can actually find it. Now that you've acquired a copy, now it's time to begin. So, start the game, choose your difficulty and settings, and start the tutorial of the game, making my input sort of useless in this moment. However, there is 3 parts that I'll cover. The first one is choosing and sacrificing a dream weapon. Here's a rundown of it. If you choose the sword and sacrifice the shield, you start with 5 strength, 1 defense, 3 MP, 3 AP, and your starting item slots will be 7. If you choose the sword and sacrifice the staff, you start with 5 strength, 2 defense, 2 MP, 1 AP, and your starting item slots will be 7. If you choose the shield and sacrifice the sword, you start with 3 strength, 4 defense, 2 MP, 3 AP, and your starting item slots will be 8. If you choose the shield and sacrifice the staff, you start with 4 strength, 4 defense, 2 MP, 1 AP, and your starting item slots will be 8. If you choose the staff and sacrifice the sword, you start with 2 strength, 1 defense, 3 MP, 3 AP, and your starting item slots will be 6. If you choose the staff and sacrifice the shield, you start with 4 strength, 1 defense, 3 MP, 3 AP, and your starting item slots will be 6. Also, the dream weapon you choose will also determine the abilities you'll get. In other words, while you will get every ability if you reach max level, choosing the sword will get you combat abilities earlier, like sliding dash and counterattack. The shield will get you defensive abilities earlier, like tech boost and guard. And the staff will get you magical and crowd control abilities earlier, like stun impact and MP boost. And finally, the dream weapon you choose will also be the one Sora fights with during this moment in the game. Now, just go through the tutorial. You shouldn't need my help until you get to the next series of choices. I'll make this a lot more simple than the dream weapons. You're presented with 3 questions that have 3 answers each. If you answer every question within the top answers, the game will say, "Your adventure begins at dawn. As long as the sun is shining, your journey shall be a pleasant one." If you answer every question with middle answers, the game will say, "Your adventure begins at midday. Keep a steady pace, and you'll come through fine." If you answer every question with the bottom answers, the game will say, "Your adventure begins in the dead of night. Your road won't be easy, but a rising sun awaits your journey's end." Now, what does all this shit mean? It just affects required experience. That's it. In other words, you'll level up faster. If the game says your journey will begin at dawn, levels 1 through 50 will be affected. If the game says your journey will begin at midday, levels 51 through 70 will be affected. And if the game says your journey will begin at night, levels 71 through 100 will be affected. A little extra fact for you, the night option will have an overall reduced experience in total. Meaning choosing this path, or option, or questions, whatever have you, will get you to the max level technically faster. And no, I'm not saying choose this one, I just thought it was something interesting. The final input that I'll have on this level is going to be on the dark side boss, which for now I don't think you need me to teach you how to jump and attack a hand. What I will say though is when he does his slam down attack to summon shadows, don't attack the hand nor the shadows. Instead, jump on his arm to attack his head. That way you can capitalize on getting tech points and level up faster. This is a much more concise and easy way to get tech points in this boss fight, unlike hitting his chest orb things that he spawns, which are super inconsistent, as you can see by me getting dicked by it. But if for whatever reason you're dying in this fight, just kill the shadows to get health orbs. And with that being said, Dive to the Heart is done, and now it's time for the start of Destiny Islands Day 1.
Oh! Give me a break, Kyrie.
Sorry, you lazy bum. I knew that I'd find you snoozing down here.
No, this huge black thing swallowed me up. I couldn't breathe, I couldn't... Ow!
Are you still dreaming?
It wasn't a dream. Or was it? I don't know. What was that place? So bizarre.
Yeah, sure.
Say, Kyrie, what was your hometown like? You know, where you grew up?
I've told you before. I don't remember.
Nothing at all?
Nothing.
You ever want to go back?
Well, I'm happy here.
Really?
But you know, I wouldn't mind going to see it.
I'd like to see it too. Along with any other worlds out there. I want to see them all.
So what are we waiting for?
Hey! Aren't you guys forgetting about me? So, I guess I'm the only one working on the raft.
Ah!
And you're just as lazy as he is.
So you noticed. Okay, we'll finish it together. I'll race you.
Huh?
What? Are you kidding?
Ready? Go!
Destiny Islands is broken up into 2 days. During day 1, we are tasked with collecting 2 logs, 1 rope, and some cloth. Turning around from Kyrie, we simply run forward and find the first log we need. Now, you don't have to take my exact path, but I like to head towards the big tree. Which inside the top is the cloth. Then I simply jump down and climb up to this overlook to retrieve the rope. After that, we can backtrack towards Kyrie and make our way to the little island which has the second log we need. After we collected all the items we need, we can talk to Kyrie and choose to progress to day 2. However, there are a few extra things to do, which is just fights, honestly. I'll go from easy to hardest. First off, we have Sophie.
The breeze feels great.
She has the lowest health, and while her jump rope gives her range, she is pretty clumsy with it. When the fight starts, she will always do the attack where she jumps towards Sora and then attacks, which has a chance of causing her to trip, as you've seen. The other attack to look out for is when she says, "You ready?" which she will then proceed to twirl her jump rope over her head. And while she will eventually stop, just jump and attack to tech it. Speaking of which, she can be teched a lot. You might even get some by accident fighting her. With her low health plus the chance of her own attacks leaving her open, this makes Sophie probably one of the easiest fights in the game. Next up, we have Waka.
Hey, what's happening, man? Show me your
The only
stuff.
thing that makes Waka harder than Sophie is the fact that you can't just run up and beat him. Doesn't mean he isn't still kind of a joke. Here's the deal. This guy loves nothing more than to throw his balls in your face. So hit the ball back at him to stun him. Run up and do a combo. I recommend doing an air combo since they're faster. Then move away so his spin move doesn't hit you, which is the reason why you can manhandle him. Rinse and repeat and he's done-ski. Also, he can do a charged version of his throw, but it's only good for tech points and will most likely miss him. Now we have Titus.
Hey, Sora, you feel lucky today?
This guy will chase you down and start flipping Tony Hawk tricks on you. If you try to have an all-out brawl with him, you will lose. I like to think Titus is the first actual hard fight in this game. But the way to beat Titus is simple. So if you have any trouble, don't fret. Allow him to run up to you, then you simply jump away and then attack. If you're locked on, Sora will automatically swing towards him. He has a few trick ups, but basically just keep baiting out attacks to abuse. Now before we get to the quote-unquote hardest fight on Destiny Islands, and I'll explain why I say it like that, we have to cover your prize for beating these three. You get to fight them all at once. Now while these guys on their own can be easy to deal with, they do ramp up when all three of them face you. So here's the best I can help you with this fight. Since Titus not only has the most health of the three and will also be chasing you down, he will be target number 1. Just like in his solo fight, you're going to want to bait out attacks from him and get him whatever damage you can. This will be the only time where Sophie will actually be a problem, as she will get some cheap hits in on you, as trying to take both Titus and her is very challenging, especially this early in the game. When you get Titus out, you want to focus on Sophie next, since she has the most simple moveset and lowest health. And also, if you keep moving, Walker won't be able to hit you at all. So it's better to get her out of the way. Then when she is down and out, you only have Walker to deal with. And basically just fight Walker how I told you to fight him before. And this time you actually get a prize, a potion. Also, if you go into the water, you lose any of these fights. Maybe you're thinking that earning a potion is neat and all, but could there be a better way to earn a potion where we, for example, could fight only one person instead of 3? Well, you're in luck, because it's time for Destiny Island's hardest fight, Riku. Now I get to explain why I say Riku is quote-unquote difficult. It's very simple. I don't think he is. If we take attacks into consideration, I honestly think Titus takes the win in that regard. But I have 4 reasons on why Riku comes off as the hardest fight. 1. He has one unfair bullshit move. 2. His one unfair bullshit move does way more damage than it needs to. 3. Speaking of damage, Riku can kill you really fast. And 4. He has the most amount of health. I'm even tempted to say too much. But with that out of the way, let's talk about how to beat Riku. You run around, bait out an attack, and then attack. Rinse and repeat. However, every 4th hit you land, Riku will perform the unfair bullshit move, where he lands on his back and performs a pop-up. You can't damage him while he does this, and as I said before, the damage is crazy. His other move to keep an eye out for is when he jumps away and starts taunting Sora. And as you probably guessed, if you attack, Riku will block and immediately counterattack. The last tip I can give is that if you ever find yourself asking if the next hit on Riku is going to trigger the pop-up move, or if it's the next 2 hits, then make sure you don't have Sora do the final attack. In other words, if your combo is 3 hits, then only do 2 hits, since if you trigger the pop-up move with a combo finisher, Sora will not recover fast enough to get out of the way. Also, shouldn't have to say this, but if you fall off the little island, you lose the fight.
What are you afraid of? Don't tell me you're giving up already. What are you afraid of?
And with that being said, that's all for day 1. But before we move on to day 2, important to note that you cannot fight Riku during day 2. So if you feel like racking up on potions is easier fighting Riku than dealing with the mess that is Sophie, Walker, and Titus, best do it now before moving on. But if you're ready, let's move along to day 2. On day 2, we can now access the other side of the island. There are 2 ways to do this. One way is in between the two areas we retrieved the cloth and rope in day 1 is a window we can jump through. The other way is the door Kyrie was posted by during day 1. Whichever side you pick, we're going to make our way to where Kyrie is, which is on the raft they built in an hour, I guess. She'll briefly mention food and question where Riku is since this is a big island. People get lost sometimes. Anyway, instead of a fight you can ignore, this time the bout you'll have with Riku is mandatory. But lucky for some, and unfortunately for me, it's a race. I'd rather just fight him, but let me say how to win this race every time. At the beginning of the race, you'll have to jump over a bridge made up of 4 sections. At the end of the second section is a loose piece. If you time a jump, you'll make it to the third section while causing said piece to fall. And if done right, Riku will fall down. This will give you enough time to climb this tower and use the zipline. Warning! Do not move at all. If you move during the zipline, Sora will jump prematurely. Now, once you touch the star, and you've done both of those things, just get back any way you want, as these will delay Riku enough. So if, for example, you don't want or can't jump from tree to tree, don't worry about it. And for this bout, you win a pretty stone. Which, going full circle about how I'd rather fight, if you want to stack on potions, you now have to do the 3-on-1 fight. However, if you want to, you can stack up on pretty stones, as they too do have their uses. And let's face it, most people will probably find racing Riku easier than fighting him. Now with the race done and out of the way, we can return to Kyrie to get our new shopping list. Well, we'll need to collect 3 fish, 3 mushrooms, 2 coconuts, 1 seagull egg, and some drinking water that's not from the ocean, cause these kids are smarter than grown adults nowadays. Now even though the second area is not big, I'll start from the first area as we do have a little bit more familiarity. First thing is we're going to do is take a dip in the ocean and collect the 3 fish. Next, we're going inside a cave by the waterfall. You can talk to Waka and he'll point it out. But before that, go to the waterfall to collect the water. Inside the cave, ignore my flailing around as you aren't supposed to be able to move the camera here, but this cave contains a mushroom. Once we're done with the cave, jump on the roof of the shack and climb the lanky tree to get access to the seagull egg. Now onto the other side of the island for the last 2 mushrooms. One is going to be close by the side of the tower, hard to miss. Also, this sprout can also be used for the water you need. And the last one is tucked in a small cave you have to push a boulder to access. Next, you run towards the coconut trees where you smack them to get 2 golden coconuts. With all the food acquired, you can progress by, of course, talking to Kyrie. But before that, if you want to stack on potions early, do the 3-on-1 fight, since you can't fight Riku anymore, or anymore yet. And speaking of Riku, if you feel like it, race him and collect as much pretty stones you want, as when you get to the next world or get access to shops in general, you can sell them for money. Then you're not locked to only gathering potions, but can also buy other things like ethers. See, I told you the pretty stones have their uses. But above all else, before you continue the game, go to the tower where the mushroom was. Around there is a box Sora can lift and throw. Take this box and throw it to this cave wall. This would allow you to climb inside and collect a protect chain to get a small boost in defense. So don't feel bad if your dream weapon choices left your defenses low. Now that you have this item and gathered potions and pretty stones as you see fit, you can talk to Kyrie, which will, as I stated, move the game along, but it will also give you a high potion as well. Unfortunately, we don't quite make it to day 3. We only made it to the night before the game decides to fuck us up in the head. A huge orb of darkness doesn't know how to mind its business, or maybe it's trying to stack up on potions, I don't know. What I do know is that a young boy charging towards said dark orbs makes sense. Being concerned for the raft that he really did all the work for, understandable. Ignoring his nightly dinner time? Get the fuck out of here. Now, important to note here that you cannot damage the shadows. It is a great prank for someone who's never played this game. Kill all the enemies, they'll be playing this game forever. What you're supposed to do is reach the little island that you fought Riku on, if you fought him. Watch Riku be a douchebag as Sora clearly tries to reach out to him and get the Keyblade. A weapon so nice, the game says it twice. Now you can kill the shadows. Now you don't have to do this, but fighting the shadows is a nice little way to get some experience, as well as some potions since they have a chance of dropping them. But if you don't care about experience and potions, you have to enter the cave where we got the first mushroom. But this time there's a big fucking door, so it's a bit hard to miss, honestly. Once inside the cave again, you find that Kairi became a zombie.
Sora.
A ghost? That is so fucking scary!
But now it's time for the rematch. But since you should be more leveled up, this fight is actually a bit easier. But the strategy is pretty much the same. Get head bonks for the extra experience, stand behind his back when he starts shooting peck orbs, and the shadows should be dying faster. By the way, I am saying this based on the assumption that you were trying to rack up on experience for levels. But even if you didn't, this fight is a joke. And I don't see how you'll struggle considering the fights on the island have more depth to them. But with the rematch done, Destiny Islands is over. On to a brand new world.